Welcome, Mr. Bachchan. I saw your film in the morning, Pink. What happened towards the end, in your last scene, the woman who had served me coffee came to collect the bill. She wanted me to make a payment. So I told her to wait. And she was waiting, and we were both watching together. And both of us started crying.
Wow.
And when I started, I'm sobbing and paying her the money, and she's sobbing and taking it. And then we hugged, and then we started laughing at the same time at ourselves, that we were making such a fool of ourselves, crying in front of the whole audience. But it was impossible not to. It was deeply moving. And without giving anything away or being a spoiler, I'll have to say that whoever took the decision of that last scene, it's amazing cinematography, amazing cinema, that nothing is done. It seems to the average viewer, nothing is done in terms of activity. There's no halla gulla. It's so quiet, but so deeply moving.
Yeah. We sat a lot on that portion. When the script came and we were in discussions, it was a huge speech, almost 3-4 pages long, because it was summation of the case. But then I sat with Sujit and the writer, and I said, you know, he's just lost his wife. He's been through this traumatic experience with the ladies involved. Would he really speak so much? And in the initial stages of the courtroom drama, he would get up and just say no and sit down, if you remember.
It was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, because no cross. And he would sit down. So I said, can we repeat that? And then we sat over it, and then the writer and everyone came across that in the dictionary there is no really meaning for no.
So if you look it up, it says negative. I should have looked it up after seeing the film, actually.
Yeah. There is no means no. Uska koi, you can't expand it. You can't give an explanation to it.
And it's like a color. You can't explain a color in words.
Yeah. So when we decided, I said, that's all you should say. And then we added that it could be no means no. And these boys must realize that if it's your girlfriend, your friend, your sex worker, even your wife, if she says no, it means no, and you must stop.
I thought the title of the film could have been No Means No, but then I think Pink brings the mystery.
Yeah.
But I think the message comes across very strongly.
Okay.
It was really intriguing as the rules played out.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that, the rules of safety?
That was
sarcastic. I mean, it is ironical.
Yeah, because we deliberately. I don't think the writer and Sujit want to make any kind of pronouncement, make any kind of.
Or be preachy.
Or be preachy, yeah.
It's not a preachy film.
These are wonderful occasions when you could have been, and there are wonderful moments when any actor could have really enjoyed those lines. Now I'm going to do. But Sujit wanted it to be just as simple and as plain as possible, because the words itself and the situation itself was so powerful that you didn't need to put any strength behind the words, they were sarcastic enough on their own. Just the fact that there's a rule book that I want to make, and these are some of the rules that all women should follow, was just so hard-hitting that we didn't need anything further.
The irony of each rule, and I don't want to spoil it for the viewers, they should see it themselves. But I think coming to real life, you have a daughter, I brought up 2 daughters who are now adults, and I grew up as a daughter with very, very strict parents. I was always dodging, always lying, to just do what I let my daughters do freely.
Right.
But even then, I was very strict with my daughters. They had curfews, deadlines, and once in a while they'd come home and say, your deadline is the same time that when other people are coming in. So we'd have to renegotiate it. So what I'm asking you is that we as parents do this for their safety.
Right.
And one message that we should, which you could bring out, maybe what you could talk about, is that when you're bringing up your daughters, what are the kind of restrictions that you would say are okay?
Yeah. Parents are the same, I think, all over the world.
Yes.
I'm in 65 almost, and my parents are staying with me. But every time, as is the norm in most Indian homes, when you leave the home, you meet your parents, take their blessings, and you set off. And every time, my mother, who's in her late 80s, close to 90, would still say, you know, कहाँ जा रहे हो बेटा? कितने बजे घर आओगे? जल्दी आ जाना. खाना खाना मत भूलना. And when I come back at night to say 10 o'clock, I say, बड़ी देर कर दी तूने बेटे. You know, खाना खाया? अच्छा चलो जल्दी सो जाओ. सुबह जल्दी मत उठना. It just comes naturally to us, I feel, in our culture and the way that we've been brought up. So yes, I would say the same to my children even now. I would say that to even Shweta even now, even though she's married, she has her own elderly children. But when she comes and, you know, spends time with us in Mumbai, and she has to go and meet some friends, I say, where are you going? And what time will you be back? Don't be too late. And I keep awake till she gets back. Sometimes it's quite late, but I keep awake. I think this is something natural.
It is.
So long as I can, well, I don't know about the others, but so long as I can show concern, which is my own personal thing, but yet not be too intrusive, I should be okay.
But I think, like, for example, you wrote in your letter to your granddaughters, कि don't worry about log kya kahenge. My mother was always on this log kahenge. My father was the opposite. He said, don't give a damn about what people say. I got married because my mother said, the ladies club people are gossiping about you, and Naresh, either you get married or stop seeing him.
Right.
So it was just luck that it turned out to be okay. But there are so many parents who use that as leverage, that log kya kahenge. You in fact said the opposite.
Yeah.
Isn't that in some way also like a moral compass as log kya kahenge? Because I had one daughter who I could make her stop doing things if I said, you'll get a bad reputation. The other one didn't care. So isn't that also log kya kahenge, a kind of a moral compass?
I'll give a counter to that. There's in the trailer now, because I'm presuming that your viewers are not going to be seeing the film. In the trailer, you see me asking the girl, are you a virgin?
Are you a virgin, Miss Arora? हाँ या ना में जवाब दीजिए. Don't shake your head.
नहीं.
And everyone is a little shocked, especially some of the women that we met said, you know, I was seeing this trailer with my father. I just was coming from a press conference.
I was there for a few minutes. I heard that question.
Yesterday?
Yes,
okay.
At the movie hall.
So she said that, you know, I got a little scared. I don't know what he's going to say next, which will get my father's tail up and probably reprimand me. So it's okay for somebody to get apprehensive when a woman is asked, are you a virgin? And there's a question mark after that. But when they say it for a man, it's an exclamation mark.
Exactly.
And it's something that, as though you've conquered Mount Everest if you're not a virgin, or if you are a virgin, or whatever. You know. So for men it is okay, for women it is not. Why?
And this, we can extend it to something which is not in this film, but I hope will be in some other film, and a little bit of it is touched in my favorite film, which at that point the audience didn't like, but I think if you released it now, the audience has evolved, which is Nishabd.
मरने का फैसला मैंने जज्बातों में आकर नहीं लिया. भावुक होकर नहीं. बहुत सोच समझ कर मैंने फैसला लिया. जिया का ख्याल मुझे दिमाग की तरह अंदर ही अंदर खाया जाना है. इस दर्द से बचने के लिए मैं रोज जीवन से मुक्ति लेना चाहता हूं. क्या कर नहीं पाता. इसलिए नहीं कि मैं मरने से डरता हूं, मैं इसलिए नहीं कर पाता क्योंकि मैं जिया की यादों में कुछ दिन और जीना चाहता हूं। बस जिया की यादों में मैं कुछ दिन और जिंदा रहना चाहता हूं।
It went into the dark areas of a middle-aged man, which to me is very intriguing, very mysterious, on why men do what they do, and they do it all over the world. When some pagalpan, jaise buddhi bhrish ho jati hai, and you're not thinking, and you get and do certain things, it's in a junoon.
Right.
Today, for example, a middle-aged man, it's okay for him, it's happening very often in various levels of society, that a middle-aged man will dump his wife and go off, and it's okay for the man. The man creates a new life, in fact a new family, and which what happened, like for example Shah Banu, she's just dumped. Now in that film, your last scene when you're talking to your brother-in-law, Vijay, I don't know if you remember it, it was a long time ago, where you, I don't know how to say it without spoiling it in case somebody sees it.
No, it's all right.
I can say, well, you go to this cliff, you drive to this cliff with this idea that you want to kill yourself because you've lost everything. You've lost your family, you've lost your wife, you've lost your daughter's not speaking to you, you have nothing except your own life. And you don't kill yourself with all those flashbacks coming, thinking of Jia. And you come back and your brother-in-law meets you and you start talking to him, and it's shot so beautifully. And you talk about the reason why you didn't kill yourself, because you can't live without the memories of Jia.
Right.
What is that kind of junoon? Obviously you must have gone deep into the character. Can you explain that somehow?
Yeah,
is
I think
it possible?
what Ramu, the director, wanted was that he's not killing himself because the association itself was so sweet and warm and affectionate and very prolonged. By killing himself, he would kill that affection. He wanted
and
to
kill the memory and kill the connection.
Everything, yeah. So he wanted to remain in that memory. He wanted to remain in that realm of the time that he spent with her and the emotions that he spent with her.
It's, that film is so devastating. And for women, I think it's important.
Ramu would be so happy to hear this.
No, because women my age, to understand what men go through, because I don't think an average man can even explain it. They can't explain it to a woman, to a wife, to even their mistress or girlfriend, that this is what I'm going through. And he's explored it in so many different layers without being moralistic. And this film, again, is nowhere is it judgmental or moralistic. It simply exposes the judicial system, it exposes the lawyers' tactics. It's at so many different, and of course the women's, how they go through it and what they suffer. Shujit chose a very sophisticated and generous judge. In the lower courts, I've yet to see a judge like that. There have been cases where judges have told the rapist to marry the victim. Many reported cases like that. Do you think it was kind of, did you discuss it?
I don't think Shujit wanted any kind of judgment or be judgmental about anything. He just wanted to study the case, study the merits of the case, and decide. A lot of people felt it's the first time I've seen some judge giving a judgment on an emotional speech rather than one on facts and evidences, which is the point. But my only counter to that is I think it was brilliant screenplay to place this entire incident inside a court. The court is the ultimate authority on justice. Once it comes out of a court, it's like patthar ki lakir.
But I have heard
And
emotional
therefore-
speeches by
Yeah,
judges.
And if it is, then it was important that whatever comes out as a judgment in this particular court scene is retained and maintained. So yes, if you're going to be molesting somebody, there may be reasons for her to retaliate, because I say in one of my arguments that, you know, somebody is touching a woman inappropriately. What do you expect the woman to do? To raise a hand in self-defense, not with an intent to murder him or kill him or whatever. So these are some of the balances that were there in the film.
But when did you do workshops before this, or
I
you
didn't,
just went?
but yeah, I mean, we all sat and read the script and things like that.
And did you ask for changes which you thought would?
During the time of the discussions that we had writing the screenplay, yes.
And they chose to have that kind of a judge, which was.
Yes, yeah.
And I spoke to Shujit before this,
Yeah.
and I was struck by the very tasteful, like non-violent almost scene of her being molested.
Right.
Like it's not. I wouldn't expect it to be. I would expect it to be more violent,
Yeah.
more shocking. But he said he wanted to maintain that kind of level.
Yeah, I think that he doesn't want to show too much blood, too much violence, something that, you know, kind of makes you cringe, so long as what he's wanting to say can be conveyed through the actions. So that's all.
Have you seen it with besides your? Have you seen it with your family?
No, I haven't. The family hasn't seen it yet.
They haven't
They're going to
seen
see
it.
it soon. Yeah, they're out
Okay,
in
so
the
I'd be
country.
interested in seeing what they would say, and I think in one of the question answers yesterday or this morning, they said if Jaya is going to write a letter to her grandson.
No, that was my suggestion.
Oh, it was your.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But if you were to write to your grandson,
Yeah.
what would you write about?
It would be
Similar.
Similar, yes.
Yeah.
Similar context.
I really don't see any difference today,
yeah.
because boys also have to be protected now
yeah, sure.
in many ways, and I think a lot of parents don't realize that.
Yeah, because after the law has come out, when we discussed this, after the rape law has come out, a lot of boys are feeling that women who want to make an attempt with a boy, and if they do not get it, then they file a case against him. And they say, this guy molested me, and that fellow's in. And there are many people who came and spoke to me and said, you know, some of my friends are in jail on a false allegation. But because the law is so strong and because the women have such a strong case backing them, they can get somebody in trouble.
Well,
which is
that
what the
is
argument
happening.
was, yeah. Which is what the argument was of the prosecution, if you see in the film.
That is happening
Yeah.
in many cases where false cases are being filed, and men have become so apprehensive. Now we can talk about men suffering.
Right.
That men have become so apprehensive about meeting a woman, even taking an interview
Right.
for a job or whatever. They make sure that somebody is in the room
Yeah, sure.
at all times. Doctors make sure that there's someone in the room at all times when they examine. It is become a rather guarded society,
Yeah.
and that is a problem. From instead of feeling safe, men are also beginning to feel unsafe.
Right, yeah.
In that sense.
But
They
I
have
think
to-
it will all settle down. I think these are initial days, and I'm pretty confident that somewhere some balance will be coming out of this.
Amitabh, Mr. Bachchan,
No, Amitabh is fine.
I have seen a couple of interviews that you've been doing, and people keep asking you, why do you work at this age? Why are you still working? Do you think that it's a kind of ageist question, which is like, you're so old, you really don't need to work, why are you still working?
Yeah, but that's their point of view, and they don't know my circumstances. They don't know what my needs are, what I need to be doing. I'm okay working, that's it.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
There's a documentary that I saw a couple of years ago on Princess Diana, and she was preparing for an interview. An elocution coach had come to take her through rehearsing the interview, and he was giving her practice questions. And while she was rehearsing, her sons came in. Right. William was about 10 or 12 or something. And so he gave this practice question to Princess Diana, that why are you doing charity work? And when she saw her kids, she started acting goofy and started fooling around. She says, because I have nothing better to do. And William's voice came in and said, that's awful, Ma. Do it again, take two. I think maybe that should be your answer, that I have nothing better to do.
Okay.
Now, going back to after yesterday, I was telling you that I thought about that interview that I did for Newstrack.
Yeah, years and
the
years
whole
ago.
thing was, it was 20 years ago, around 20 years ago. We were both much younger.
Right.
You were, nobody does interviews like that anymore. I mean, I hate to say it, but we spent the whole day shooting you shoot a film. I can't remember what the film's name was, but it was with Mr. Sippy.
Yeah, Akela.
Sorry?
Akela.
Akela.
Yeah.
So you were hanging, I was shocked actually. I didn't tell you then, but I was really shocked at what you guys were doing. I thought it was extremely dangerous, and I didn't realize you guys were so badass that you were hanging off trucks with this new gun that you'd got, which was you showed me and said that this is far more realistic than what we've been using before. And then you had a Volkswagen on a bridge, and I thought they'd shoot you like pretending to jump, and then you'd be at the bottom. And you jumped from that huge bridge. And I don't think people realize that you're risking your life.
Yeah.
And it was like 5 seconds and gone. And and today you can Photoshop so much. I mean, when I loved Bajirao Mastana, but it was disturbing to me because when I see Photoshop, it kills it. I can see it and it is not working. But in those days, there was no Photoshop. You were doing authentic shots. How did you survive that? I mean, you're jumping across that bridge. And why did they do such crazy things? And how did they risk a big star like
There really
you
wasn't
doing
any
it?
other method. I mean, now they have all kinds of wires and ropes to bring you down and you don't get hurt. I think these are some of the precautions that everyone takes now. But in the olden days, we didn't have that, so we had to do it live.
No wonder you got injured. No wonder all this happened. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit.
So it's safer now?
Yeah, I think it's much safer now. Also, with VFX, you can have someone else do it and plant your face on it. You have wires to actually bring you down from heights and wherever. But yes, a lot of more precaution. I think it's better that you develop all these gadgets as time passes by, and they work for safety.
One film that I want to bring up also, which was Black.
Yeah.
I saw it with a friend of mine. I don't know if you know her, Rashnaim Hasli, who's a psychotherapist. And she was, after the film, she told me that your kiss with Rani.
शायद तुम्हें शारीरिक प्यार कभी न मिले, लेकिन will you kiss me once? Please.
She said that is the kiss of the highest form of compassion. That there was nothing sexual about it, but it was basically coming from the depth of compassion.
Right.
Did you have any apprehensions at that time?
No, because I felt it wasn't the case. It was just like teaching her another alphabet.
That's what she said.
he was so keen that he educate this girl, and whatever feelings she was going through, it's like taking her to a plant and saying, you know, feel this, and when she goes and touches a thorn, for example, she says, I told you to be careful. So it was part of you know, just being able to fulfill the needs and desires of a woman who perhaps will not ever have this experience. But it was aesthetically done.
Beautifully.
And after that, he just disappeared from her life, if you notice in the film. You never
You think
saw
it
him.
had anything to do with that?
Because
Did he feel
Because if he's going to initiate something, he perhaps realized that it could lead to something more, and therefore he should move away from the scene.
Yeah, I've forgotten that part.
He just moved
but-
away. Then
Okay.
You never saw him again.
The most remarkable part about that film is that you don't know where it's placed.
Yeah.
It could be in Simla, it could be in Europe, it could be anywhere, the way it's shot.
Yes.
The production values are like,
Yes.
you know, I plan to not identify what nationality they are
Right.
or what place
Yeah,
they're
absolutely,
in. It
yes.
was remarkably done.
Yeah.
You, one of the things that, were your parents strict with you in?
Strict as to discipline. Mother always gave freedom. Father also gave the freedom.
But you
When
grew up.
I became independent, for example, you know, started earning my own money and doing all things, I was very honest and frank with them. To tell them, you know, I've started smoking, I've started drinking. I go to the races on Sunday. They never said anything. My father said, you know, if you're going to have a smoke the best cigarettes, which is in a way that, you know, you can't afford the best ones, so you better stop. And don't try and earn money on something that you haven't spent your blood and sweat on. So that stopped me from going to the races.
It's very tempting in Mumbai,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a
No,
part of
I'm
a
talking
whole
about
scene.
days in Calcutta.
In Calcutta.
Yeah.
Oh well, that
You
also.
know, 60s Calcutta
Yeah.
was
That's an interesting way to put it. I think so. He was disciplining you in a very clever way.
I look at it that way.
But can you tell the story about the time when you used to come home late?
Yeah. My father used to, he was working with the External Affairs Ministry, and after office hours, he would get invited to, you know, Kavi Sammelans, poetic symposiums in close by areas here in Delhi, Meerut, Ghaziabad. So after he's done his office, he would be driven off there, and he would attend these poetic symposiums, finish at 2, 3 in the morning, drive back just to earn that extra money. And every time he got back, it was about 3 or 4, I was the one that used to open the door for him. And I used to say, "Kya kar rahe hain aap? Itni der raat mein aa rahe hain?" So he said, "Paisa badi mushkil se milta hai." Then I came to the movie industry, and of course they were staying with us. And I used to work in 3 shifts. That's like 7 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon to 10 at night, 10 at night to 6 the next morning. So when I'm coming back after my 3rd shift, he's on his way out for his morning walk, and he would open the door of the house. And he would tell me, "Kya kar rahe ho tum itni der raat ko?" And I used to tell him, "Paisa badi mushkil se. Paisa badi mushkil se."
Do you remember? I think these millennials should be told the story. In my interview with you for Newstrack, you did say, you were telling me the story about your early struggle, and you did say that you were driving on Marine Drive with a friend, and you said that you climbed up on top of a billboard and started hitting the billboard. And you turned to me and you said, "You believe that, Madhu?" And I said, "Yes." And you said, "No." And then, perfect comedic timing. And you said that you banged on it and one day I'm going to be up there. Do you think it's the struggle, like the poem Ithaca, the struggle is as important as the end of the journey?
I don't know.
The goal?
I mean, you know, when you're young, you do all kinds of mad things, and this is one of those madnesses that I confided in. But I wouldn't suggest that to anybody. No, I don't know how it all culminates, but
No, what I'm asking is, you think the struggle is important, or if you're born...
Every struggle is important. Every failure is important. I think that unless you struggle, you won't know if you've achieved something. When you achieve something, you will remember the struggle. When you fail, you realize if you get up and get successful again, you won't be able to appreciate success if you haven't failed. So those are some of the things that we said yesterday as well.
Yes. The poem that was read at the end
Yeah.
of the film.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, it says that
खोज
तू
अपनी
खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है, तू चल तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, जो तुझसे लिपटी बेड़ियां समझना इनको वस्त्र तू, ये बेड़ियां पिघाल कर बना ले उनको वस्त्र शस्त्र तू, चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज बना, चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज बना, गगन भी कप कपाएगा, अगर तेरी चुनर गिरी तो एक भूकंप आएगा, तो खुद की खोज में निकल तो किस लिए तलाश है, इस तरह से.
Can you explain it a little bit?
It's just addressing the women.
कि look,
To khud, you need to go out and look for, and search for yourself. Why are you so worried? And these iron girdles that have been put around you, and they're not really iron girdles, they are all kinds of restrictions and as you rightly said, your parental guidances and what Samaj will say, log kya kahenge, all that has been stuck to your body as that this is your clothing now, this is how you have to live life. No, melt them and make them your weapon. Those are the kind of sentiments that the poem had.
yeah,
really
but
good.
I think, like, for example, my mother said to me कि तुम इतना पढ़ के करोगी क्या, अरुण तो पढ़ के कुछ बनेगा, तुम पढ़ के करोगी क्या, because she took it for granted that I would just be married and stay at home.
Right.
So I think more than anything else, besides searching for yourself, I think the girls have to, today there's an article in Mail Today, in fact, that the girls must have careers.
Right.
That even if they get married, they can walk.
Sure.
So...
all that, it just gives strength.
Well, thank you very much,
No,
Mr.
not
Bachchan,
at
for
all,
your
Madhu.
time.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a lovely interview.
Thank you. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you. If you like that, click here to support us and down here to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and do check out the other stuff we do, like News Laundry interviews, Why So Serious, animations, comics, panel discussions, podcasts which are really big, and much, much more.